What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece episode 1147. So in this episode, Straw Hats are still fighting the five elders, with the help of the giant pirates. Of course, the Navy's like basically they're in shock of what's going on. Of course, but they're still following orders and fighting the Straw Hats. What else is going on? You have Vegapunk's message going around, being broadcast. You see different characters from past arcs like reacting to it. So you have Kaya, Mary, and then those three kids that Usopp was friends with, you know, in in the arc where he's introduced. Basically, you see them basically but now those five they can only hear it. They can't see it because Kai doesn't have a video transponder still. She only has the audio one. And you see Crocus and Laboon listening. You see so you see the guy who was attacked for people thinking like looked like that one poorly drawn drawing of Sanji. I gosh, I can't remember his name. And then basically of course you have some characters, so you have the people from Vegapunk's homeland reacting to it. You have those natives from the island that Chopper did his training at for those 2 years. So you just see different people, and also you have Judd, Vince Smoke Judd, so Sanji's father, and then you have the clown, and you have Caesar Clown and one who like basically they're both you know so they were former colleagues of Vegapunk. Of course, that scientist group that was disbanded. Basically, they want to those two you know start allying with each other, which in the manga that's shown in like a cover story. Now it's not really developed yet in the main manga story. So the manga it's shown in cover stories. The manga hasn't really gone into how it's going down, how it could affect the end game of the series, because it might. Now, anyway, so you see everyone reacting. So then the message starts. So Vegapunk says he's just gonna report on the facts that he knows, and he's not gonna judge. He's not gonna say. He says this is broadcast in the case that he has been killed. Everyone's like, wait, this isn't live. Is Vegapunk's dead? Or did we just get news that the Straw Hats kidnapped him? And so that's what's going on. So then now what was everyone's like, who would have killed him did? And then Vegapunk says, whoever his executors are, he does not. He says he does not think them as evil. He's just speaking as a scientist. He's not going to speak in terms of right and wrong. He says he doesn't know about him in order to say who if this person is evil. Now, it's not known who he's referring to. It's possible he's referring to Emu. It is it is possible he's referring to Emu. Like that he might actually he's one of the few people that it implies that he might be the one few people that knows about Emu. Now that leads to some questions in the manga about I'm not gonna give spoilers about the manga. Well, okay, since reviewed the manga as well as the anime, I was so basically, there's like one Vegapunk left. You know, Lilith, the one who was seen as evil, which is why Stella thought that Lilith was the one that betrayed him. Lilith's evil. Of course it was her. Oh, it was York. I'm sorry, Lilith. And like basically, yeah. So and then like there's as far as what now as far as like what happens. So does Vegapunk Lilith know about you know know about Emu? Does she have the knowledge that Stella had? That is like one of the questions. Like that is like the question. Okay, what does she have? Like, what does she have the knowledge that Stella had about Emu? And so that's gonna be an interesting thing. So I believe and so that's gonna be interesting in the manga and the anime if they're gonna go how much does Vegapunk actually know? And the episode ends with him with the message says, based on the research he's done, the conclusion he's come to is that the world is gonna sink, and everyone is shocked. Like what? So yeah, I really like this episode. It's interesting how they're showing like everyone's reactions and like you see some reactions in the manga, but of course in anime, in order to like I guess get fill in the runtime, they're probably gonna try and put more of that, which I have no problem with. You know, and it does seem like actually a smart way to handle it. Like okay, there's some small details that you can put in order to help fill in the runtime that doesn't make it feel like like filler and like yeah, so then basically yeah, so I think that this I'm interested in how they keep showing this message. It's gonna take a while for this message to be shown. Like I'm trying to remember when exactly it ends. Like how many chapters it lasted, with aka how many episodes it will last. I can't exactly remember the exact number, but it's gonna be an important message. Like the next episode, based on the title, is gonna do a big spoiler. Well, it's not that big of a spoiler in reality. Like basically, is like based on the title of the next episode, like a lot of people will be like, okay, makes sense. But it's shown that Vegapunk knows more than he's let on. And I'm interested more in the manga and anime as far as the anime. So I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Piece, chapter 1163. So in this chapter, so you have all the Navy soldiers are like, Saturn, why are you looking like that? They're like, is this a devil fruit thing? And so everyone's assuming that the figure sitting on top of Saturn is just part of Saturn's devil fruit powers. Which, they probably don't understand exactly how his powers work, so I can understand that assumption. The only one who actually knows is Zebek, and of course the Five Elders and the God Knights. And Emu's like nuisances. And so like you see Emu just attacking the Navy and the pirates. Basically it's just killing everyone around. So everyone's trying to flee and there was like the frick. And the Navy's like, get out of there. All the pirate crews and the Navy crews are trying to evacuate their people. So Roger tells Gabon to get some treasure, get out, lead the men out, and Garb's trying to figure out what's going on. And then when grabs one soldier says that Saturn just transformed, and then Garp basically says it's the first time he had seen one of the five. He's like looks about the right kind of freak who'd sit atop those maggots, and everyone's like Garp Ixnay on the Andersley, and they're like, frick it. They're like, don't say that, because it's well known by the Navy that Garp hates the Celestial Dragons, and especially with what he's seen on God Valley, he is not happy. So then Zebek's ready to like challenge Emu to a fight, and Emu calls him Davy Jones. So, and he's like, so it was the Davy Jones. And Zebek says, nope. He's like, I've never met the guy, but he says promises are meant to be kept. And he was like, which is exactly why thy kind must be. So it's like he's talking in like middle age speak, like these, thous, thys, and all that is like, oh, this dude is from ancient time, is from centuries ago then. And then basically Emu's like, my world is still incomplete. Zebek's like, it ain't your world. So everyone's shocked that Zebek is attacking Saturn. Well, he's attacking Emu, but they think it's Saturn. And then basically they're like, should we help? And Garp's like, yeah, we should help. And the soldiers are like, wait a second, which side are we helping? So then, pirates are taking some treasure, dragons trying to get Shanks out of there. And he gets knocked out, loses. Basically, when Shiki does his magnet, well, Captain John does his magnet power. He it causes a dragon to lose Shanks, and you see Shanks starting to crawl inside of a treasure chest. And so you see, it was funny. You see all these swords trying to drag Garp, and like basically, do not do not attack Saturn. Do not attack one of the five elders. So then, Kaido, he's wanting to attack. Basically, he's trying to trial his power. Big Mom arrives, saying wants to kill Kaido, and then so you see like how, but of course they're all focused on Emu. So then and Saturn. So you see Zebek, Dart, Rock, Roger, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido all attacking Emu and Saturn at the same time. And you see all their attacks. Kaido's attack is just called Dragon. Honestly, it makes sense given his reaction to gain the Devil Fruit power. And like basically like it does nothing. And so Rayleigh like he's carrying Shaki. He tells everyone, "Hey, get the treasure and go." And one was like, yeah, Rayleigh's always got his eye on the prize. And Rayleigh's like, "No, don't forget pirate's true calling." And yeah, that's and dude, it's so funny. You just see it is so funny. We see Shanks looking at treasure and climbing to his chest, which is implied that's one of the Roger pirates is gonna grab it. As far as who knows? And basically, so Big Mom and Kaido arguing. Kaido's like, I can't spit out what I've already eaten. Big Mom says, give me money then. So it's funny how she's willing to accept money then when Luffy ate all those can all the saltwater taffy, and he offered money. Big Mom's like, I can't eat money. Like, I can't eat gold. And then it's funny you have Garp and Roger arguing about who's actually did the damage. And he was saying, I can see him running the forest, which is actually what he's talking about. And Emu says, "New Davies, a woman and child, striving hard to live, pestilence that must not be unleashed upon the world." Sebek's like, "Whatever you're thinking, don't do it." Garp's like, "What? Huh?" And then Emu's like, "I'll do nothing." And he's like, you see Sebek slicing it, and he's like, doing nothing. Emu just pokes, has his arms where it penetrate Zebek, and he like says that Zebek will end his own bloodline. Tells him to kill his wife and child. Zebek's like no, and then he does a Domi reversey, and you see Zebek turn into like a demon monster, probably being sent after Teach and Eris. So yeah, this has got insane. So I am honestly wondering what the frick is how is Garp going to be allowed to live after this? Like that. I mean, my only guess is it has to be basically so they want him to be seen as a hero so that they can cover a lot of stuff up. Because Garp was already a popular member of the Navy. He was very popular with the soldiers, and my guess is basically they want him to be a public face of it to say, hey, the hero of the Navy, Garp. Since Garp was popular, everyone would believe that. I was like, okay, he fought off the Rocks pirates and the Roger like Rocks was so powerful that he and Roger had to team up. And like basically they're gonna like leave out so many details. And basically, I mean, Sengoku said that a lot about Rocks was hidden. And so, like, basically, so it's like, okay, there's some secrets about God Valley that we need to know about. And now we're getting that freaking emu was there, which was not something I expected. I did not expect God Valley to be like, God Valley has surpassed probably anyone's expectations on how insane it is. Like, one, we were not expecting, I mean, a lot of people were thinking, okay, since Shanks was at Elbath, we probably will get God Valley flashback at Elbath. Well, Leafy has to come across Shanks yet, but we are still getting God Valley, and it's like, the frick, like it's something like my personal theory is that this incident will lead Garp into forming Sword. I don't think Sword is a thing yet in this like at the point in the period of time when this flashback takes place. I don't think Sword exists yet. I think this will lead Garp into forming Sword. And I think his idea will be to use it as like kind of like a basically a more honorable Black Ops like group in the Navy to like, hey, if we need to we basically we're willing to be disavowed in order to do our job. Which ex Drake, who's publicly seen as a pirate captain, but is actually a member of Sword. Like, which CP0 was aware of. So I think that Sword's gonna be Garp's way. So you have Dragon, who's gonna create the Revolutionary Army to handle things outside of the system. Garp still probably wants to do things inside the system, and I think Sword is his way of doing it to basically raise a group you know of soldiers who will be able to take over, earn a lot of respect, and basically eventually probably overthrow the Celestial Dragons. I mean, like, and that's probably something Garp could only do as a vice admiral. He probably couldn't do it as an admiral or fleet admiral. Because if he wanted a fleet admiral job, he would be able to get it very easily, and everyone knows it. Sengoku knows it. Sakazuki knows it. Like, if Garp went up to Sakazuki and said he wants to be a fleet admiral, um, let's basically he like most people would not like they would not be able to say no. They're like, frick. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. The Elusive Samurai, chapter 224. So in this one, so you see Tokiyuki chasing Takaji. So basically, it's like they're playing tag in a sense. So Tokiyuki's shooting arrows at Takaji. Basically, he's preparing to, like, shoot that big like divine arrow at Takaji in order to defeat the evil god. See a flashback of them playing tag years ago before the rebellion, and it's shown that Takaji was spending time with Tokiyuki to like get info. You know, if he decides to betray. Basically, then says that he envies Tokiyuki because when he was a kid, all he wanted to do was have fun. But as an adult, now desire one thing means giving up another. And he says that his actions will deprive him of much. And he says, he won't be able to enjoy like festive occasions without resorting to guile, is how he puts it. He says the only way he's playing Taiko Tokiyuki can he forget about his cares and enjoy himself. And you see Tokiyuki while he's thinking of it, about remembering all of it. Basically, he says he only feels pity if he pities him more than he hates him. And he says the way for that arrow to work is to basically fire it without having a intent like bloodlust. So with a peaceful heart, he must fire the arrow in order to hit Takaji. And so you see, like he's told to find like basically daydream, but some pleasurable memory. So he daydreams about his father, his biological father, his brother, his wives, his all the soldiers under his command, all his friends, and Aki, who he considered his like I guess a brother figure, and then basically with all the friends and family he has, he basically puts all his time with them inside this shot. So he shoots like the daydream arrow, and you know, goes through. It goes through Takaji, goes through his hands, and then hit it goes through his arm, and then goes through his back. And you see all the dark, evil energy just spilling out, and you see it spreading over the earth. And you see like the spirit of Suwa Yorishige, and he says father. So that's it. So it looks like Takaji's defeated. So it looks like they might be going the alternate history route. That looks like that might be how they're handling it, which could be an interesting way to do it. You know, like alternative history. That could be how they're handling it. I don't know if that's what they're doing. It's fine. Alt history is an interesting genre, but unless something basically now if they're going to try to go how things actually happen in history, something is about to happen very soon. I guess. My guess is some weird stuff's about to go down. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, chapter 66. So in this one, Shishido tells Gaga to give up and basically stop his plan, which was to basically kill all the mid and low level demons in Suaros territory, which includes Yamada, who is Kiyoshi's friend. And so basically, Gaga says that as a human, it shouldn't be Shishido's business, and Shido says the only thing that's guiding him is his own principles, and will protect whoever he wants. So yeah, and basically it's like you had a cross panel who protect demons, and then so it reminds Kiyoshi of himself, and then so you see Gaga starts trying to attack, and he starts fleeing, and he says he'll see him again, and you see Shuden saying Gaga's not going there, and he offers to help out, and he does these black flames, which is like Oni fire, and he does an attack, and then Gaga's asking why is Shuden fighting on the side of humans, and basically he explains that he's number two in the demon. He tells like so the extras he's number two in the demon realm special forces. Basically, he's a half breed between. So one of his parents was a human, the other was a demon. And he's like the Cambion Toji shooting. So he's half human, half demon. And Gaga says he didn't rely on her, but he said ask for his sister's help. So yeah. So then they're eating So then the exorcist group's just eating somewhere. Shishido asks about Donon's performance, and there you see so the other two like critiquing it, and Shishido asks who Hichigi and Kiyoshi are, so they introduce themselves, and then so basically they go over what had happened, and she says he has a friend in a demon realm, so he can't ignore it, and then so everyone agrees to help out, and then you see so the kid that Kiyoshi helped, his name is we see him, going back to his house. His name's Sutomu, and then basically he describes it was a demon with red hair and tons of and it showed me Yamada. So that kid was Yamada's kid. It looks like, and then he's wondering if Kiyoshi's in, and then Kiyoshi says he's going to be there to protect. He asked someone he wants to protect in the demon realm. So it looks like Yamada and Kiyoshi are going to reunite. So that's going to be an interesting thing. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I liked how they're setting up, obviously the villains setting up, interesting, we have the half breed, you know, and see how that goes. So you have basically a Nephilim in essence. So yeah, we finally got a Nephilim, so I'm interested how that goes. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch, chapter 56. So in this one, Ichi like is unconscious. He wakes up in like some mindscape area. He's talking to Ururo, about how he used so much of Uro's power that he passed out when he was fighting Kizashi. So Uro like starts taunting Ichi. Basically, they argue, and they see a little bit how everyone else is probably about to die, protecting Ichi's unconscious body. So like, you know, basically Uro wants to make and Ichi basically make a pact, and like there's some argument over how to do it. So they try to argue with different terms. Eventually, like what happens is Ichi gives Uro temporary control of his body, and that's how we end up to Uro like speaking through Ichi's body and just attacking Kizashi and just basically he's taunting you know he's taunting Chrono Weaver about knocking up a human. And and he mentions funny. He mentions how take over someone's body is pretty good. And he mentions he says he sees why the prophecy magic is into it. And it's yeah, it's funny. Like his like, dude, if we get an anime for this scene will look awesome. And so basically, Roden starts doing a bunch of attacks on Kizashi. And yeah, so you see him just spamming a bunch of attacks. And then and he says, it is like, did everyone seriously think that all he does is amplify magic? And he says that is enough to give him his crown. He said his name is King. He says, my name is King Uro. I am the King of Magics, master of the world's magic. Basically, he's like he's gonna enjoy like just beating the crap out of Kizashi. See, I like this chapter. Like how they brought back Ururo. Like so his personality going through Ichi's body was very interesting to see through the fight against Kizoshi, so I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Odor of the Flame, chapter 24. So yeah, so last week I messed up on explaining one Urder to Evergroom. So yeah, I forgot about Sleipnir, the human like king, whatever. Totally forgot about that guy. Yeah, so Udur is the fifth hoof of Sleipnir. So one of the major like military leaders for Sleipnir. So yeah, it was the and so you see yeah, anyway, so on the story, so like yeah, so obviously Odor's crew is heading towards the Great Tree, the land of the Great Tree. Basically the whole land is a giant tree. Like it's the world tree Yggdrasil. And so you see everyone's eating poutines cooking, basically it's really good. And then, basically they're talking about and like basically something about like Queen mentions the legend of the all women kingdom. Basically that all elves are according to that legend, all elves are women and that they're beautiful enough to make a goddess jealous. And then Oder just is like, well, actually, he like basically just tears out Kudin's words. It like just Rex it goes into full detail why Kudin was wrong about saying they were all women. Basically, starting to do it how the elves like they're different beings than humans, so I guess the way it sounds like the way gender works for elves is a little different. So yeah, so then so Huggins says that they gotta be careful about how they act there if they are seen as rude. Basically, the land of the great tree does not like outsiders. Very much, it very infamously does not like outsiders. And like there that's the main expel outsiders is the main rule that the land of the great tree is known for. And very few know of any other rules because the outsiders usually are killed before they learn anything else. So you see the elves fighting off the this army, and you see Odor's crew arrive. They offer the help, and Odor's like you're late. That's that's your first discourtesy. Interrupted the battle. Second discourtesy. And then yeah, so Hugget introduces Oder you know to Urder, and so yeah, so they're trying to talk. So basically, so Urder has the power to tree spirit Jormungandr. So obviously that's gonna be how it's explained. So Hugin asks Urder if for order to be put under the secret elven arts in order to gets help recover the power of the fire spirit. So yeah, I like to show like how they're introducing the elves, like to show it gain into this next arc. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Harukaze Mound, chapter 19. So in this one, so basically, so the team goes to a batting cage in order to practice. So you see like how like how they practice, and then so you see a team from Hojitsu arrive, some students there, and start trying to kick out the team. And basically, so there's an argument. So Ibuki basically proposes a challenge to have Hojitsu batters hit Nagiharu's pitches. Basically, they make the bet, and there's a rules are has to be in the strike zone that the panels that the lit up panels show. And he says, okay, he'll announce. Here's another thing. Basically, like they'll announce what number Nagiharu will target, and so Nagiharu does his pitches, and basically they're not able to hit any of his pitches. And then yeah, basically like it those batters get wrecked by Nagiharu. And so the guy tries to just attack them with the bat, but then he's grabbed by one of the teammates, one of Nagiharu's teammates, and it's like basically so they leave. And then yeah, and then you see so Nagiharu's brother who hasn't been seen in a little while telling them that yeah, they're not Hojutsu team members. And then so yeah, so Al Kaze, had arrived. Basically, he was invited by Nagiharu. So then some of Al Kaze's teammates arrive, and then so this guy named Ikazuchi Goya, who's a Cleon hitter. Um, so Ibuki says asks if Goya will try to hit Nagiharu's pitches. So that's the same as the next chapter. It looks like we're gonna see a matchup between them in the batting cage. Where that's setting up the next game, like the actual game between those two. Who knows? But yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Ekiden Bros, chapter 17 in full series. So basically, in this one, you see basically all the characters race at Hakone. Like they gather for a cone, racing it, and that's it. Like it's really nothing. Like this big race, Hakone, they just show in one chapter. They skim over it. It's like, yeah. I mean, yeah, I didn't like how they just skimmed over it. It is definitely because the series got canceled. But I was like, if this Hakone Ekiden is supposed to be such a big race that Nobu's aiming for, they should show more of it. Like, actually show more of like that race. Like instead of just ending it right then. Like that's just dumb. That was dumb. It's like man, there's so yeah, that was like come on, I would like to see more. But yeah. Well, and yeah, as far as series goes, series has been, it's been decent, but this chapter, like, I was like, okay, very rushed ending, very rushed. So yeah, I mean, I would say the series is decent, but like, yeah, this last chapter, I would not say was a good chapter. Yeah, like it was like mostly just a pointless epilogue. Ping-Pong Peril, chapter 16. So in this one, so Tyra has to finish the game with all the damage that's going around, debris. So, and it's revealed that the his opponent is an alien, and it's shown that you know basically so the reason Mutsuki got involved in Ping-Pong Peril was because she believed that working with aliens would help her business, and basically she wanted to learn more about their technology, and and she basically said she doesn't want to endanger Tyra. She says she should have just given him the last million, and Tyra says it's okay. He wants to earn like that last million, and he asks for basically for a moment to be taken care of, and basically it's like he's gonna die on that last match. So like defeats his opponent, and then he's drifting. He's like okay, he accepts the fact that he might die, and he notices that the Earth looks like a giant pinball, and he wakes up in like a spaceship, leading right into the next chapter. So yeah, I like this chapter. It's definitely weird, like randomly getting aliens mentioned. So I don't know if that's supposed to lead into a next arc or if that's just going to be explained like something right before the series ends. So either the series is ending very soon, or this is going to be a lead into a future arc. One to two. So yeah, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Gachiakuta episode 16. So in this one, so the fights between the cleaners and the raiders are still going on. So you have so a raider named Bundus is using his divine instrument on Bro, trying to get him to answer questions, basically like a true serum type, I guess, power to get him ask questions, ask him about what he knows about Corvus, the leader of the cleaners. Basically, Bro doesn't know anything. Basically, like, so Corvus is very secretive about like details even about like what his divine instrument is. And then it's like yeah. So then you have Zanka versus Jabber, which is a big fight, so BC like is a high stakes fight. And then basically Zanka is like sees himself as mediocre when he's going to fight, and he says he wants to win the fight. And then basically yeah, I mean that fight between Zanka and Jabber is the highlight. I mean, as a manga reader, I can tell you it's a great fight, especially what we're gonna get. I don't know if it'll be next episode or the episode after, but the Zanka Jabber fight, there's gonna be some cool stuff happening there in it. Like it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I really like the this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo Chapter 8. So in this chapter, um, yeah, so this shows some of Cross and Maru's backstory. So when they're kids, they basically like were, they got in some trouble, and then basically their parents were killed. And so, yeah, so they're taken in by this guy named Dura, who has them help him build a canal or to help with trade. Basically, showing that there was the whole dispute between the ruling Disconte and the Rumelians, and so basically Maru crossed Dura or Rumelians. Basically, it was all about these creatures called the Kalyons who would kill anything that wasn't Rumelian, and so basically Discount uh one one of the Kalyons dead, but they were considered sacred by Rumelians, so that led to conflict. Rumelians lost. So basically, like Dora wants peace between two groups. Some people don't agree, so they try to attack, cause problems, and then um, basically eventually everyone's convinced to help out, and so they build the canal. And it looks like things are looking up. They're about to, make peace for coexistence. But then it ends with saying that Callion mauled the daughter of a Discante chieftain to death. So it's gonna be interesting how that happens. Like what happens actually, like what exactly went down. But yeah, overall, I really like this chapter. Like I liked how they're trying to explain some of Maru and Cross's backstory, or to show like why they're on Earth. So that should be interesting. So yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Also, King season 3, episode 6. So in this one, Dwight tells Joanne about him working for Muso and the FBI to, arrest a Dexter Deacon, basically, so that his crew doesn't get arrested, and including Joanne doesn't get arrested by Muso. So Larry's body is found by the cops, so that's safety inspector. Basically, so Bodie reported the death as an accident. The distillery shut down, pending investigation, and so that Dumbmeyer obviously caused everything. And Dwight says how they're gonna tell us how they're gonna handle it is move the bourbon through some private channels for the time being. And then showing that Bevelok was missing. And so yeah, so then the crew starts selling the bourbon. Um and then so basically Dwight, Tyson, Bigfoot confront some of Cole's men, and basically Bigfoot beats him up. Beats those guys up, and this while they're heading to Arkansas to meet with Ray Renzetti. So Cole tells Jeremiah about Dwight's group of moving the bourbon basically secretly. So Cleo and Mitch are a corrupt cop stops them. Basically the cop was sent by Dunmeyer, and the two of them beat up the cop and escape. After when he tries to arrest him, it's just saying that the bourbon was contraband. So when Dwight meets with Ray, Ray demands 80% of the the revenue, and Dwight believes that Renze is behind Bev Lockwell's disappearance, and Cole's been you know ambushed Mean, but they missed due to Bigfoot spying them, and Renze thinks it was a hit on him. Goody calls Dwight and says that Armand has committed suicide. So yeah, so that happened. Then so that's gonna set up a lot of stuff going down. So interesting what happens now. Yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. One Punch Man season 3 episode 3. So in this one, yeah, so you see Garo find some of the monsters, and Garo loses, and like so then Saitama returns to like his apartment. Basically, he notices he forgot stuff, so then Fubuki returns, gives him back some cabbage he forgot, and yells at him for basically footing her the bill. And like Saitama says he didn't find Garo, even though he did, he just didn't know he found him. So yeah, huh. So yeah, the apartment scenes were funny. You have, Janice's, you know, inner monologue about everything. Trying to figure out how to handle it. But So here's what of course there's issues with the animation. Yeah, the animation does still have some issues. Like the actual like basic visuals are fine. It's like how the basically how a lot of the animation flows is what's causing some of the problems. Overall, I say it was a decent episode just based on the story. So I like it. Looking forward to the next one. Gonron Egg Chapter 1. So this is a new series that Suisha started. So basically what happened here is so this kid named Gonron, so basically 20 years before the series starts, these creatures called Dracarchs took over the human realm, and then so Gonron was one of those that didn't want to submit to the Dracarchs. So he at one point finds a Dracarch egg. Well, he doesn't know it's a Dracarch egg till later, but he finds an egg, it talks, so he like basically helps it keep warm. And then like basically while he's trying to at one point while he's trying to help the egg the hatch he basically is captured by Dracarchs, and then basically yeah, so the egg hatches, attacks the king, and it's revealed that the egg is the egg of for is the actual rightful heir. So the current king usurped the rightful heir to the Dracarch throne. So the egg is the actual heir. It's revealed. So the egg hatches, it partially gives some of his power to Gonron. They're able to defeat them. You know, to defeat the ruler of Gonron area. So Aberlon. But yeah, so basically Aberlon dies, and then yeah, so it's interesting to see what happens now. And then yeah, so then they decide to so obviously the egg wants to so wants to get basically regain the throne, while Gonron wants to defeat Agito, the Drakkar King. So they both want to go after Agito. Of course, Gonron wants to help humanity. This is gonna be interesting, future chapters how that goes. Them having to work together, like, and so yeah, so huh. So I like this chapter. It was a good start, good way to introduce the character. So I really liked it. Looking forward to the next chapter. Kingstown season 4, episode 1. So in this one, so yeah, so now there's a new warden named Nita Hobbs, who basically Mike talks to, and Mike wants to tell her, hey, there's some things we had to do here. He doesn't go. He's basically like, we had some arrangement. He basically says he had arrangements with the last war. And Nita's like, Bob's like, I don't care. And basically, so Mike's also concerned about his brother Kyle being in prison, and Kyle's attacked by some inmates and paraded, round, basically on the warden's orders. Well, he's not beaten by the so the warden doesn't order Kyle to be beaten by those prisoners, but she does order that he be paraded in front of them, and then that does lead to him being ambushed. Like, yeah, so a former cop inside prison. Obviously that's not the best place to be. Like that could be lead to a lot of mixed feelings, and some people who are in prison could be because the cop caught them. Of course, they're wanting to take revenge on Kyle. It's obviously what's going on. And then, yeah, so then, Mike, basically, I don't know if he's technically now just dumped Evelyn, or if he's now, or if he's just basically he just dumps Evelyn, like the assistant district attorney who like wants to do everything by the book, which ideally that's what it is, but obviously with Mike's job, there's a lot of irregular situations. But yeah, overall, I like this episode. It's a good return, good premiere for the season. So I like this chapter. Looking forward to this episode. I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. The Mastermind. So in this one, this takes place in 1970 in Framingham, Massachusetts. So there's like a carpenter named James Blaine or JB Mooney. So his father is a judge. Basically, he's a carpenter who's unemployed. So JB goes through like this local art museum like a few times, to get a look at the area, and then he gets a loan from his mother Sarah in order to he says he uses it to find a job, but uses it to pay three people to help with the painting. The driver backs out, so the two others, but they still go along. And then, so JB serves the getaway driver, so the other two are actually getting the paintings. And when they're trying to get out, so Ronnie, who's one of the people helping out, holds a gun on a bystander, who was just waiting for her friends inside her car. And then, yeah, so then after that, JB hides the paintings in a loft. And so some cops were interviewing Terry about, JB being involved since Ronnie named him as the leader after he got arrested for trying to rob a bank. And then, yeah, then JB is abducted by organized crime group, and basically his connection to the robbery at this point is public. So basically, yeah, so JB is just always on the run, using false identities, trying to figure like basically he tries to make a false like passport for himself. He comes well that's later, but like he meets his friends Fred and Maud or Maudie where. So basically to imply that Jay was going to sell the paintings to their old art professor. So when JB like goes different places, he ends up renting an apartment, and yeah, so basically he's unable to buy a ticket to a bus, so he, in order to get the money to buy it, he decides to start stealing from an old lady's pocketbook, and then he tries to blend in with a crowd of anti-Vietnam War protesters wanting to escape. Anyone trying to go after him for, you know, stealing someone else's money. But then cops bring it down, and then yeah, so but all the police they break up the rally, and JB's arrested, and that's it. Like that's it. I'm like the frick. But yeah, I did not like this movie. The acting's very stale. It's very flat. Like, and as far as we don't care, there's no like motivations. Like, okay, he's just unemployed. Like, okay, you have an unemployed guy who turns to crime in order to make money for his family. Yeah, that's a story that's been told. And this one was just not executed well. Other ones have done it a lot better with acting and with the writing. I think a lot of it's the writing. Like, gosh, like I did not like it. That was a hmm, that was a boring movie. Based on what the critics are saying, I say it's very overrated. But yeah, I did not like this movie. I cannot recommend. Well, that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.